Welcome back, you're watching Late Night Live. It's time now for my special guest interview. Tonight I'm joined by the founder of the charity Mancunian Way, Nick Buckley. Nick set up the charity in response to the riots of 2011, and Mancunian Way has since gone on to win numerous awards for its work with young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Nick, you're very, very welcome. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about Mancunian Way. Your tagline is changing lives, improving communities. So where did this idea come from?
The idea came from the riots, directly from the riots.
Yeah.
Before I set the charity up, I worked for Manchester's Crime and Disorder team, which was part of the police and the council, and I was based in police stations. So I wasn't a police officer, but I was based in police stations. And for 2 years, I was based at Bootle Street Police Station, which was the city centre police station at the time. And on the day of the riots, I had a letter on my desk telling me that my job had gone, my team's job had gone, and here's a selection of jobs that you can do at the council if you still want a job.
Right.
Because they had a no redundancy policy, which was fantastic for people who worked there. It was a really good idea to have a no redundancy policy. So I'm looking at this letter, sat at my office at a desk looking out the window at the riots, thinking, right, what am I going to do? Do I want to work in elections? No. Do I want to work in healthy eating? Someone has to, but it's not me. So I looked out the window and decided we need more prevention and early intervention work in the city. And that was the sort of work I'd pioneered for 10 years for the Crime and Disorder team. And I sort of realised there and then that if we're going to stop the next generation of young people making the same mistakes as a small minority on that day, it's only a small minority of young people who are causing problems.
Yeah.
But if we're going to stop the next generation of making those mistakes, we need to get out in those communities. We need to work with those young people at an earlier age for over a longer period of time and make some real difference in those communities. And that was the start of Mancunian Way. So next day, I put in my voluntary redundancy papers. A month, 6 weeks later, they let me go, and Mancunian Way was born.
So it came straight on the back of that. That's
Yes.
really interesting. So did you feel, because obviously you're a proud Mancunian, and you're born and raised in the city, aren't you? So
Yep.
did you feel that you had a personal interest from that point of view for yourself, just growing up in the city and sitting there that day, looking at that, those couple of days of madness and destruction, I suppose? Did you kind of have a personal, emotional
Absolutely,
feeling, a reaction to this? Yeah.
I've always lived in Manchester. I own a house in Manchester. I was raised here. I went to Central High School for Boys, which was a Manchester school. It's been knocked down now. I did my homework at Longside Library. I went to youth clubs. I now live in the city centre. I used to work for Manchester Council. So I am a Mancunian, and I've always had the best ideas for the city. But everyone does. It doesn't matter where you live. If I'd have moved to Edinburgh, I would have wanted the best for Edinburgh, living there. I want the best for young people.
Because it's your home is where you are.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it's still our society, it's still our country. And what I say to my friends all the time is, if we all do just a little bit, but everyone did a little bit, it all adds up.
Yeah.
And then you can make a real difference. But we all have to do our little bit.
But it's quite hard getting something like this started, I imagine, though, is it? Do you have a lot of red tape to kind of go through and?
Yes, setting a charity up is a lot harder than you think.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I could do it a lot quicker now because now I know exactly what to, because you've done it once. But at the time, I had to set up a board of trustees. So even though I set the charity up and I run the charity, I'm not the boss.
Right.
You have to have an independent board sat above you to making sure it's not fraud, to make sure you're doing what you should be doing.
Yeah.
So I had to set up a board of trustees. I had to create a trust deed, which is some legal document a charity needs to have. There were so many hoops.
Oh, this would have been all new to you though, wouldn't it? Because you had not done this before. So
completely
how did you
new.
go about even just learning how to, who gives you this information?
I had 2 points. I had Google.
Really?
And I had a friend of mine called Claire Evans, who works for 4CT Limited, who's a font of knowledge. So she really helped me out in the early days as well.
She helped you get started. So tell us, one of the you've been named at Lloyds Bank top 10 social entrepreneurs in the UK on the back of this.
I only got into the top 10. I didn't get any further than that.
In top 10 is pretty good in the UK. Come on now. But that's amazing, isn't it? I mean, would you have ever thought that that's the kind of awards you'd be getting? And I know the charity's won other awards as well. You've also lectured at Manchester Met for speaking about antisocial behaviour and that. Obviously, you didn't have a background in anything like this either. You weren't lecturing or anything, so it really has opened.
I've never been to university.
You hadn't been to uni, so it's changed your career path completely, hasn't it? Working on this charity.
It has, and there's several reasons for that. I think people tell me I'm passionate, so that sort of comes through. So,
and I think this is a very important thing. A requirement if you are setting up something like a charity, right? You need to have that passion. But you're going to come up against it, aren't you? You're going to come up against lots of closed doors shut in your face and that. So your passion drives you. You need to bring people with you. You have staff, you have volunteers. If you can't create them to work hard and want to volunteer, then you might as well close the door. So, part of my job is to make sure they believe in what we're trying to do as well. So that comes through. I've lectured a few times at MMU around antisocial behaviour and different related subjects. And you're right, that wouldn't have come about if it wasn't for the charity. And what sort of team do you have then at Mancunian Way? So you're actually dealing specifically and interacting with young local kids? Yeah, we work all over Greater Manchester, but obviously not every part of Greater Manchester all the time because we're only a small team. We've got 3 full-time staff, we've got about 6 part-time, and we've got about 15 volunteers. Oh, so you heavily rely on volunteers, I suppose, like any charity does then? Yeah. Right. Some of the projects volunteers don't work on because they're more specialised projects. Yeah. So especially when we're working on the streets at weekends and evenings, we need experienced, fully qualified youth workers working on the streets. That's what the title will be then, a youth worker. And so they're going to just speak with the kids, do they? I call my staff youth intervention officers. Okay. I don't class us as youth workers, even though most of my staff have got a background in youth work. Because there's a lot of poor youth work out there, and there always has been. Yeah. Most youth work is far too left-wing. Far too many youth workers want to be best mates with the kids. Okay. But you know what? Most kids have got best mates. They don't need another best mate. What they need is some guidance, some advice, a role model. That's what they need. They need someone to say, that's wrong, don't be doing that, and these are the reasons why, don't be doing that. And if you carry on doing it, me and you can't be friends, and I can't stand there chatting to you and helping you because you're doing that. So show me some respect, put that cannabis out. And if you don't want to, that's fine. I can't make you, but I'm letting you know that we're going to have to be on our way. Yeah, that's very interesting, because I do think that a lot of the more recent techniques for dealing with kids or behavioural problems or social problems is to try and be their friends, sit them down and speak to them, which obviously works to a degree, or will maybe work for a certain person. But the truth is, in these situations, a lot of the time what the kid might be, the child might be missing out on is a discipline situation in their home, right? Or just parents who'll discipline them or support them or teach them right from wrong, basically. Would that be right? To a certain extent. Young people thrive when there's rules. Yeah, they do, I think. When they fully understand the rules, they thrive because they know what they can do and what they can't do. So we give them that. But we also work with them around the confidence and self-esteem, and we try to make them see a more positive future. And like I said, they don't need mates, they've got mates. Yeah. But we work with them to say, what do you want to do later on in life? Do you want to just sign on and sell a bit of weed on the side? Or do you want to work for Virgin Trains? We took 4 kids to Virgin Trains headquarters a couple of weeks ago, and they spent half a day being trained as train drivers. They went on a multi-million-pound simulator where Virgin Trains train their drivers on, and we had 3 hours on it, 4 young people. And it's a fantastic opportunity for them. Well, that's something they would never have got before. And is that because now, so companies like Virgin, for example, is that they're supporting the charity by allowing you this time and allowing you this training time? Absolutely. So you obviously you do have the support of big companies in the city, I guess, do you? We do. We took another 3 young people, half a day work experience at Emirates Airline at Manchester Airport. Wow. Yeah. We've had 2 of our young people working a full day shift with the head chef at the Hilton. Brilliant. We had 10 Zurich insurance staff come out and help us redesign our allotment in Gorton. We had 9 Royal Bank of Scotland staff come out and help us run a fun day in a local school. So we're really good at getting big businesses involved in what we do, and they want to support us. Well, I think that's when you start seeing the how well you're doing, when you do have somebody who wants to come on board like that, and they do kind of see for the future themselves. They know that you're preparing those kids to go out there. So tell us, what exactly then specifically, what does Mancunian Way offer a child who might do they approach you, or do you know how do you
All depends on the project.
Yeah.
It depends on how the project's been funded. We've got lots of projects. Most projects dictate what area we work in. So a housing association will pay us to work in their area because that's where their houses are.
Okay.
We'll have some, lottery money, and that lottery money will say this must be spent in Manchester. So therefore we can't work in Stockport for that project. So overcoming that, most of our work is on the streets. So rather than expecting young people to come to us, to a youth club or a youth centre, because you need millions of them, you need them on every street corner if you want kids. So it's about going to where they are. We make contact with them, we might play a game of football in the park. I'm going to say we, I don't mean me anymore, I'm too old now to be working on the streets with young people because I'm old enough to be their granddad.
Right.
So you need staff who they can still relate to.
Yeah.
And sometimes in life it's about being realistic with yourself, saying, I can still physically do the work, but am I the right person now to be doing that? The answer is no. So when I say we, I mean my staff. So we'll go engage with them. It takes a bit of time to break down barriers and build some trust. And then we can have conversations then, depending on what the issues are in the area. So some of the conversations might be the older ones. Why aren't you working? Do you want a job? Do you want some help getting a job? And we can start some of that work. And then when we're at a certain level, we can pass them over then to an agency that then looks for work for people. There's lots of agencies out there doing it, but a lot of young people we work with straight away are not job ready. They have no concept what a job is.
Next point,
so say I want a job, right? Well, I'm not being told what to do though. That's a definition of having a job is being told what to do. I want a job, but I'm not working for those sort of wages. It's like, well, that's what you're going to start off on, minimum wage, because you've got no qualifications, you've got no work history. So sometimes it's about making them understand reality.
And as it stands, you're probably earning nothing anyway, so it's still more than what you're earning while you're here. But their free time is their own. Well, we've got lots more to talk about, Nick, but we do have to take a break now. Join us after the break when I'll be talking some more with Nick Buckley from Mancunian Way. We'll see you in 3.